It's 24 degrees Celsius here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. I wonder what the temperature is reading in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where we're keeping our eyes squarely on this morning. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I'm Maokwe Ogunyusuf.
And I'm Ijaw. Mikey, let me do a quick check for you, Maokwe, just to know. Well, in Lagos, the temperature is saying 26 degrees, so it's still the same thing. But you are asking what it's saying in Port Harcourt? Well, I can tell you right now is exactly what it feels like in Lagos. But whether that's for the natural temperature, the weather, what the political and environmental temperature is saying, I guess that's another thing entirely, Maokwe.
Indeed, Ijaw. All eyes on River State, particularly the capital this morning, as the governor, Mr. Fubara, is expected to resume office today, as well as the House of Assembly, which were suspended on March 18 following the declaration of a state of emergency in River State. Yesterday, the president issued a statement saying that there was no need to continue with the state of emergency one day longer, as he was now satisfied that all mechanisms for peace in the state have now been restored. We'll be looking shortly at that and also linking up with our correspondent, Deborah Balama, who is in Port Harcourt, as well as Charles Oporum, who will be keeping us up to speed with developments in the state as they unfold and giving us the blow-by-blow account. But just before we go there, we're going to be going to Lagos, Ijaw. That fire incident is still very much on the front burner. Our correspondent, Chris Lems, who was on Lagos Island yesterday, monitoring event. It turns out that much as one big building, the Afri land building was the one initially involved in the fire. There was another fire again, and this time we're hearing that at least 4 people might have lost their lives in the incident. We're still waiting for a confirmation from the Lagos state government as to what exactly transpired yesterday, how many people lost their lives. But these are the things that we have been able to gather on the ground, and our correspondent, Chris Lems, who went to town, brought us back a report.
About 1:35 p.m. on Tuesday, 16 September 2025, a fire incident is reported on Lagos Island. It's the Afriland Towers along Broad Street, the heart of Lagos Business District. The Lagos Fire and Rescue Service reported that the fire originated from the inverter room located at the basement of the building. In this video, occupants of the buildings are seen sorting ways of escape, including jumping from the windows. Injuries are reported, and so also are some unconfirmed number of fatalities.
I'm in Taiwo A like this. The heat alone. People are trying their possible best.
By 7:30 p.m., just a few meters from the Afriland Towers, another fire incident is reported at the Central Plaza, close to Mandela's building. Some of the traders attributed the incident to power source changeover. The day after, calm has returned to Afriland, but there is a heavy presence of firefighters along the corridor as the air is still thick with the scent of burnt materials. At the Central Plaza, the buildings are still smoldering, and firefighters are battling the remains of the flame that turned a vibrant community where business once stood to one contending with losses and uncertainties.
We don't know if it happens to be a mistake from someone, but we just saw a flame up there, and we rushed there. So when we got there, we realized we can't control it.
The faces of the traders tell it all, as sections of the affected buildings are completely cordoned off, considering that their structural integrity may have been compromised. The people tell their tales.
A market like this needs fire posts in the market, not outside the market. Because in advanced country where you see this kind of thing, they need a stay-by section, immediate fire post.
There is need for the government and for relevant authorities to begin to look into the issue of fire incident right at the heart of the commercial nerve center of Lagos State. From the Central Plaza right here on Lagos Island, Chris Lems, Channels Television News.
Well, indeed, statements have actually been issued by companies which were situated in that building, the Afriland Global Building, the FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, the FIRS, as well as the management of United Capital also released a statement. Apparently, it does appear that the FIRS lost 4 of their members of staff. United Capital reported 6 of their members of staff having passed on in that incident. So if we're to add these 2 figures together, we're looking at 10, but then we're still waiting for the state authorities to confirm how many lives were lost in that very unfortunate incident, and also what plans are to make sure that we do not see a recurrence of that sort of incident, because it does appear, Ijaw, that we're losing lives to issues of safety that could have been prevented in this particular instance.
I recall that a good number of times the Ministry of the Environment in Lagos goes out of its way, pulling down structures, excuse me, that stand in the way of, that stand in floodplains, so we hear. The objective is simple: to ensure that there are no loss of lives, to ensure that we can predict or project and identify that, okay, this is a potential danger and we can do something about it. The closing remarks of Chris Lems, my colleague, in that report says it all. Is there a plan in the central market on Lagos Island? Is there a plan? It's one of the most difficult decisions any state government has to take, to pretty much pull down certain infrastructure and rebuild it. It has happened at Tejuosho, where the market was, I mean, if you were ever in the old Tejuosho market, you would know that it needed some kind of attention. It was a fire incident that destroyed the market till the state government said no more, pulled everyone out, rebuilt the place, and the place is standing now. I think the same thing also happened in another market in Lagos, the Alade market in Ikeja. I'm not sure whether there was I don't remember now whether there was a fire. Well, there is no more market in that place. There's a market beside it somewhere, which is way better organized. Can we do the same thing on Lagos Island? Oh yes, it's a difficult decision to take. Oh yes, certain people's livelihoods are going to be affected. But then, will we not be saving lives? We will not be protecting lives and property. I know it's a difficult decision to take. I know that there are many people whose homes are connected to their markets right there on Lagos Island. But then, the difficult decisions have to be taken, Mokwe. After all, that's the whole idea or the whole essence of government.
Indeed, Ijaw. Well, we'll wait on the Lagos state government, but in the meantime, we'll continue to employ, companies to, make sure that safety is a top priority. When these people went to work, they had no inkling that they would not be returning home that day. And at the end of the day, in a major fire incident as the one that has now happened, 10 people, at least from what we're seeing here, have lost their lives. Well, our condolences to their families, and we sincerely hope that all steps will be taken to make sure that this sort of incident, very few, if at all, they'll happen, and far between. Well, we're going to be changing gears very soon, and this time around we're going to Rivers State, but that will be when we return from this break. Please stay with us. Indeed, we're changing gears now, and we're going to Rivers State, where the president has now declared a cessation of the state of emergency in Rivers. He did this via a statement which was released last night. And part of the statement reads, "I am happy today that from the intelligence available to me, there is a groundswell of a new spirit of understanding, a robust readiness and potent enthusiasm on the part of all stakeholders in Rivers State for an immediate return to democratic governance. This is undoubtedly a welcome development for me and a remarkable achievement for us. I therefore do not see why the state of emergency should exist a day longer than the 6 months I had pronounced at the beginning of it. It therefore gives me great pleasure to declare that the emergency in Rivers State of Nigeria shall end with effect from midnight today. The Governor, His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara, the Deputy Governor, Her Excellency Ngozi Mma-Odu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and the Speaker, Martins Amewule, will resume their work in their offices from 18 September 2025. Well, today is that day, and you can trust that pressmen and women are outside the offices of those people waiting for them to resume. And it's not just them. You have a lot of supporters, so to speak, who are also in these various offices waiting for these people to resume. In the meantime, right here in our studios and also virtually, will be joined by Professor Benjamin Okaba, who is the president of Ijaw National Congress. He's going to be joining us via Zoom from Bayelsa. He's joined us a few times now. It does appear that a technical glitch is still shaky, making sure that he's not able to stay with us, but we'll be waiting on that. But right here in our studios, we have Mr. Jacob Pele, who is the president of TAP Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunrise Early this morning.
Thank you, Malcolm. You're looking sunshine.
It's our job. That's what I do for a living, bring sunshine. I was going to ask you, though, how do you feel today? Because you had been a very strong advocate on this issue of Rivers, asking for peace to reign. Do you feel relieved now that this day has finally come?
Malcolm, you see, I've always said that democracy will win if we all fight for it. And today, in my opinion, democracy has won. The important thing is that the elected governor have been restored back to office. And for me, that's a big win for democracy. There will be challenges, there's no doubt. But I think it's time for us to reiterate the words of retired General Gowon, who says there is no victor, there's no vanquish. Let's move the state forward.
Is that really the situation, though? I mean, whilst nobody wants to reopen old ones, if indeed they're still old. But then, here we are, a governor is going to be returned to office today. We've seen the conflict that preceded his being suspended from office. And we do know that 6 months is a long time in governance. Some people will say that, it does appear that the levels of power will have been rearranged, and he will not find things just how he left them, when he left office or when he was suspended from office. How quickly do you see him settling back to this new arrangement that he'll be meeting on the ground now that he's coming back?
I'm not a pessimist, but there is no doubt it's going to be an uphill task for him. Because now he's going to inherit structures that, he would struggle to trust. Truth be told, trust is not something you give, it's earned, And all the individuals concerned have shown over the years, some of them, that they can be trusted, that they are pure politicians whose interest is personal and not the people. And so it's going to be a little bit difficult, but if there is sincerity of purpose, if they are truly willing to work together, if they are concerned and people-centered, they should be able to leave their differences behind and let governance thrive. Maokwe, we've seen enough trouble. And when I mean we, the Rivers people, we've seen enough siphoning of our resources. One thing I'm going to champion, maybe that will be my next layer of advocacy, is that Ibok must account for all the money he spent in the state. Some people are saying, oh, let's leave the old wound. No. Public offices and officers must be held accountable.
So you are alleging corruption? Because
I'm not alleging anything.
Yeah.
I'm alleging transparency. If he comes out, and that's what is expected of everybody.
I'm saying that because you used the word siphoning of our funds.
Oh yes, there is an indication when you look at the entire picture and the optics. Sometimes their body language, you will know that something had gone wrong somewhere. We need to know. Let's assume that we want to unveil the truth. Just tell us the truth so that we can relax.
You don't think that the National Assembly was capable of doing that?
The National Assembly, many of them are my friends. Definitely, there were some level of partiality.
Mr. Pele, I'm going to ask you to please hold your thoughts on that particular question. We'll come to you shortly, but let me quickly bring in Professor Okaba here, Professor Benjamin Okaba, who is the president of the Ijaw National Congress. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. I think I should take your initial reactions on this development that the emergency rule has finally come to an end in River State. How do you feel today about it?
Well, thank you very much. Just like I've said earlier, there was actually no need for the emergency rule. There was actually no need for the emergency rule that it ended today. Well, I will say, well, it's okay. Just like my friend said, it's a win for democracy. But all the same, so many losses significantly felt across sectors. And so for that reason, I think it's an uphill task getting a feedback. But we're happy today.
Well, you say there was no reason. I'm just referring to the president's statement. I'm going to refer to the president's statement now, which says, I highlighted the reasons for the declaration. The summary of it, for context, is that there was a total paralysis of governance in River State, which had led to the governor of River State and the House of Assembly being unable to work together. You do not think that that was reason enough, or you don't consider that a reason at all?
All of that were orchestrated towards achieving a particular goal. When I say there was actually no reason, I'm placing it at the background of what played out. They had a target of power capture, economic power capture. That was the target. So all that happened were just tailored through the judicial process, the crisis in the House of Assembly, the crisis between the governor and the FCT minister, the involvement of the Judiciary, National Assembly, all of that to the declaration itself, because we felt properly resolved with the genuity that was required. The president will have done that all along, particularly when he invited both parties. And if the issues were addressed in the best interest of the state, not in the interest of one individual, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. That is why I made the statement that in spite of what the president said were crisis and all that, I said those crises will have in themselves been avoided. That is the point I'm making.
Oh dear, it does appear that we'll have to link up with you, perhaps with another connection. But right now, the connection with you is a bit poor. But we did hear what it is that you said, talking about why you saw no reason. You think that this is something that was orchestrated to get you a particular result. So I was just going to ask if you can hear me and if this connection should work better. What are your expectations now that the governor and the Speaker and the House of Assembly will be back in office today? What expectations do you have of them?
Yeah, I think all parties, all the dramatists have learned a lot. And the greatest gain is that they have all seen the reason.
Oh dear, it does appear that we've lost Professor Okaba. As I did say earlier, our correspondent Deborah Balama as well as Charles Oporum are on the ground in Port Harcourt in Rivers State and will be giving us a blow-by-blow account of what is happening. I know that Deborah has been stationed just outside the governor's office, and Charles Oporum is at the Ecumenical Center where we understand the Thanksgiving service is currently being held. We'll be bringing you visuals of that as we wait for a confirmation of the connection between us and our correspondents who will be joining us shortly. But Mr. Pele, you were saying that you didn't quite trust the oversight that the National Assembly had over Rivers State. I mean, you were not sure that they were performing their duties as they ought to have.
Mark is an understatement because we saw some kind of a structural arrangement that was not going to carry the foundation of what the outcome was. Voice vote, this, that, they were not, they didn't do their job the way they should have done it. They were more interested in protecting the reputation of the president. They were more interested in not being at crossroads with him, and they literally jettisoned the provision of the Constitution. But my thing is, just as we discuss the problem, let's focus on solution. How do we move the state forward? You ask my president a very pertinent question. What is expected of these politicians? I'll tell you one. One, unite the people. There's so much division, bitterness, and rancor within the people. They love who they love. It's like the law of mercy. I will love whoever I will love. I will hate whoever I will hate. The people love whoever they want to love. See how you can bring these people together to believe the functionality of governance. The moment that is done, the second is the sincerity of purpose within the people concerned. The Wike camp, the Fubara camp, the neutral camp. How do we ensure that we work together and not just present an optics, but present the reality and truth, sincerity of purpose, that we can work together to move the state forward? Thirdly, this idea of sharing formula, that economic sharing formula that politicians have instituted not only in Rivers State but across the country, if they can just behave responsibly and know that the resources belongs to the people, whether it's internally generated revenue or allocation, it is Rivers people's money. It's not to be shared. One of the things that Fubara needs to be very careful is being told to start paying allowances of years, all these moments, that the chaotic moments that they have created, start paying salaries. I'm sure, Moekwe, that dogs will be paid. Dog allowances will be paid, you know. And so we need to be very careful. Otherwise, if it puts pressure on the economic, the finances of the state, it will make governance practically impossible. They haven't told us where they got some of the resources, because at the point there was a court injunction that stopped them from using the allocation.
Mr. Pelham, please hold your thoughts. Our correspondent, Deborah Balama, is now stationed. Well, she's ready for us right now. Deborah, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for being on the ground right there. Can you tell us precisely where you are and what is going on around you?
Good morning, Malcolm, and the rest of the team in the studio. So I'm at Government House, Port Harcourt, right in front of it. Now, I'm not standing right at the gate because the crowd there is so much, and the noise is also a lot. So I'm right at the car park where I can find some sort of slight serenity to talk. And there are lots of people outside the Government House expecting the governor and his deputies' arrival. I've been here since 7, few minutes to 7, and believe me, there were people here already at 6:30. And the crowd keeps getting more and more as the time ticks. When is the governor coming? We don't know. I've asked questions with some of the politicians I saw around. None of them seem to have a clue of when he would arrive, but they're certain that with the lifting of the suspension and him being declared back into office, he's certainly going to turn up for work today. But I saw a couple of old women, you know, sitting right in front of Government House, waiting for the governor to resume office. I have a lady here who's also been here this morning. Please, can you come to the camera? Right here, I have, what's your name, please? I am Honorable Dr. Angela Anthony Ojipede. Okay, you got here early this morning. Why are you here today? My leader. So we are here to welcome the governor, His Excellency, and Officer of Ijaw. And I want to thank His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then Commander of the Federal Republic, for helping to restore hope, peace, stability, and grace. And I want to thank God for using peace as an instrument to have achieved this. Yes, I want to encourage everybody and all those who have been instrumental to this just cause that we should try and help one another. We should cooperate. We should support one another. We should support the leadership, the government, and we'll be glad of things. So what are you expecting from the governor as he resumes back into office? I'm expecting that he will be carried, he'll be empowered by the Holy Spirit. He will be very much delighted to work with all the people that are going to work with him. Certainly the House of Assembly members and all of this stuff in the government house, his personal aides, the security, and everybody. He's a good man who has the heart to lead. And I pray that God gives him the wisdom to really know who is who and who will be there to support him truthfully and honestly, because that's okay. I mean, as a Rivers person, are you from here or living here? Okay, I'm a Rivers. Is there anything, any structural problem you've noticed, or any problem that you've noticed that needs to be addressed urgently? Infrastructure, whatever area that you have noticed as a resident of Port Harcourt? Yes, we have lots of beautiful things. You know, when the governor came on board, a lot has happened, positive things, and we believe in that continuity project. Of course, I still believe in that continuity project. Yes, we are one Rivers. We don't have a place. So the governor will continue from where he has stopped. He came on board, he saw good things made by his predecessor, and he continues. So I want to encourage him to continue in that field, and also try to see that he doesn't listen to people that will direct him to do anything outside of what has been planned or programmed. Of course, we all want the very best of him and the very best of our dear River State. Rivers of possibility, rivers of peace, rivers of hope.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so she's just one out of so many women that have been here. I think if you look at the number, seems balanced, ratio, not many. If I want to just estimate the crowd we have here, maybe about 3,000, thereabout of them. They are littered in different circles, and they are all waiting for Siminalayi Fubara, the governor of River State, who just resumed yesterday by the declaration of the president to go back into office and commence work. So that's the situation on ground at the moment. Philan saying that he is definitely coming. So we're waiting.
Indeed, Deborah, we have to say thank you for your report, and we urge you to please wait safely. We hope that the spirit of joy and enthusiasm, which we can feel even right here in the studio, is maintained all the way. Well, that's our correspondent, Deborah Balama, who's standing in the car park. She says she cannot stand right in front of the government house because of the crowd and the music. I know that she had reported earlier that there was drumming and singing in front of the government house, and a big crowd is there waiting for the governor. Well, while Deborah is there, I also understand our correspondent, Charles Oporom, is at the Ecumenical Center. Charles, it's good to see you. What exactly is happening? Who is giving thanks to God at the Ecumenical Center?
Good morning, Malcolm. Yes, of course, you can see I'm surrounded by members of the Rivers Women Unite for Same prayer group. They are all around me. They are putting on their yellow, and they've been very happy. The mood here has been very joyous. From the moment I walked into the Ecumenical Center, I can see they're all smiles all around me. So when I interacted with some of them, the feeling was, well, our governor is coming back any moment from now. I mean, okay, hold on. I think maybe we should just hear from them directly. So, I
need to charge this phone so that when the governor is coming, I can go right when he arrives. I need to go. I don't know where Mr. Tengo is right now.
This is a God-sent man that came to liberate Rivers State. Make governance very simple, and we're all in it. This is a man that trusts God and have the fear of God. And all of a sudden, as if our joy was taken away. But today, the 18th day of September, history has been made. Our governor is now.
Mark, you can hear for yourself what's happening here, right? Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Charles Oporom. We certainly will be linking up with you later to see if it remains at the Ecumenical Center or if this moves to Government House or a larger ground somewhere. Thank you for your reporting, Charles, and we hope that it remains that way. But Mr. Pella, you can see what is going on the ground in River State. I don't know. I know the joy. There's something about joy. It's can be infectious. And somehow, I see you smiling as well.
I do. Well, the truth is that the people are tired. And it's not just, I was reflecting on what that communicates and portends. And I'm like, okay, this is a sure sign that Fubara is still being loved by the people, but I think it's more of the liberation that the people are feeling. It's more of the fact that they fought, and now what they fought for is becoming a reality. Because the dangers was the fact that we are not sure Fubara was going to come back at all. And so for me today is a win for all of us that stood, spoke, and at the point they said, oh, well, we can speak, but nothing happens. Well, no. When good men keep quiet, evil will thrive. I believe that today shows that, yes, when you fight and advocate for a just cause, one day you will get result. I am enthusiastic
Just to say that Ijaw is still a part of this conversation, and I don't think it'll be right to just leave him out. Ijaw, has the joy seeped into the studio in Lagos?
To be honest, Malkwe, watching the conversation you've been having with Deborah and Charles and the electric enthusiasm of the people, there is no doubt that that joy that the people feel is contagious. And you can see that it's even reflecting on Dr. Pele right there in the studio. But you know, Dr. Pele, there's something that one would have to give attention to about this matter, particularly in terms of sustainability. One of the questions that Deborah asked a respondent earlier was whether or not the fellow thought that the peace that is now being experienced will be lasting. And of course, that fellow was very confident that it will be sustainable. But then there is the angle of politics, Dr. Pele. Charles, you know, earlier was saying that when he spoke with politicians, in our sister program earlier, that when he spoke with politicians who were supposedly on opposing sides, they were just milling together, playing and everything. And he asked them, guys, aren't you guys supposed to be at variance? He said they told him it's just politics. Leading to this question, so there is a place for politics and there is a place for governance. There is a place for the people. Now, the politicians know the game they are playing. Do you think the people also understand that game that the politicians are playing?
You ask a very intelligent question. Let me answer from the principle of democracy. The principle of democracy does not in any way allow foul play by politicians. It does not in any way allow personal interest over the interest of the people. And so there's no doubt, and I said it at the beginning, that sincerity of purpose is required. The people are aware. I am, and several other people are aware, you know, that there will be cracks at certain point in time. There will, because when personal interest overrides the interest of the people, it's always a problematic situation to handle. So the people, in a direct answer to your question, make no mistake about it. The people know these people. And they know that many of them are not sincere. And they know that many of them will try to create problems. Because I believe, I want to not believe that there will be a pound of flesh request. And oftentimes, Sim, who is a person that I don't speak for, I speak for the people, would definitely, the accountant in him will definitely resist some of the demands. So I hope that they know that we know them and that we will hold them accountable and that we will continue to speak truth to power. It doesn't matter what it will cost us.
It's like you're giving the governor some task already now, because there are those who will be wondering how this is going to continue. But still talking about the influence of politics. There is a place for politics and there's a place for law. Now, there are those who have said, you know, that in the wake of all of this state of emergency that the president declared and all, there is always an opportunity for politicians to locate loops, exploit it for benefits, and the people are at the receiving end or a lack of it. How do you see us moving past this? Because at the end of the day, even though democracy is about the rule of law, sometimes the law has gaps that are exploited to one advantage or the other. So what would be your counsel to politicians? It would seem like the president was trying to do that as well in the closing part of his statement.
Well, I'll tell you what, there are many of us today that we are going to ensure that we put a searchlight even on the governor. He shouldn't be surprised if some of us becomes critical of how he handled things. because we will, if it doesn't handle things that means to the people. And I'm sure, hopefully, that he will understand that he's still loved by the people and that he should serve the people. I've personally, this was my counsel to Fubara. I told him, I said, my friend, be the people's governor and not necessarily the politician, political governor. If you want to be the political governor, yes, it's the politics that brought you to power. There's no doubt about that. But you are there to serve the people. I would rather leave a position having fulfilled a purpose than to leave that position or stay in that position a puppet. That will not happen. So the truth remains, this is the time for true governance. This is the time for people to feel the impact of a positive governance. This is the time for our resources not to be siphoned or manipulated. This is the time for us to see genuine dividends of democracy. This is the time for us to know that we, the Rivers people, can govern ourselves. We are civilized, we are very educated, exposed, and we shouldn't be treated as if we don't know what we're doing.
Interesting.
And so, as much as possible, the accountability mechanism that people like us, people like the president of NLC, we were president, Ijaw National Congress, we will continue to hold politicians accountable. So the fight for democracy have not ended. It is just beginning.
When you talk about the people...
Yeah,
my apologies. When you talk about the people, let me look at 3 categories of the people of Rivers State right now and what role each one of them will be playing. On the one hand is the governor, who is going back into his office. And you remember that along the line when people were pushing for him to return, he said, look, what's the assurance that you guys have that I even want to return to this seat? So whether or not he's excited, I guess we have to wait to see. Then there is the people in the House of Assembly. Whether or not they're on the same page with the governor now, that's another issue altogether. Then there is the local government administrations in Rivers State now on opposing political sides with the governor, also people of Rivers State. What are the dynamics you see, Dr. Pele?
Ayo, you didn't add the 4th one. The 4th one is the community of Rivers people, those that are outside the brackets of politics. But
it was deliberate to look at these people. It was deliberate to look at those because the activities of these 3 classes of people will reflect on the general community.
Correct. So let me take it one after the other. Fubara and his political statement showing that he's not interested, his spirit have left the government house, and all that. To me, it doesn't count. And I say it doesn't count because Fubara is smart enough to know that the office is bigger than him. The office of the governor of Rivers State is bigger than him. It's not about him or his person. It's about the office of the land. And whatever political statement he makes is his personal ideology. It does not reflect the will of the people. And that's why the people did not take that statement seriously, you know. So whatever he does that reflect that will be counterproductive. 2, the State Assembly. The State Assembly is my greatest worry because there are inordinate ambition in many of them, and I hope that they would have shelved that. You know, I hope that they would be willing to let go, because some of them still feel that they were shamed, they were embarrassed, they were abused, and I hope they will also know that they also abuse other people and abused even the office of the governor. But the point is, we can all work together, whether you're Ikwere or Calabari or Ijaw, we can all work together. We are one Rivers people, for goodness sake, you know. The other one are the local government people. That one is going to be a very difficult situation because the way and manner they came to office, whether you like it or not, this is not about politicians. This is about the people. There are people that are going to stand up to challenge the legality of that election. Is it the right thing to do right now? I don't think so. But however, in order for the law to take its course, people will challenge that. Otherwise, it becomes a precedent, you know. But ultimately, Ayo, ultimately, whether anybody likes it or not, the power resides with the people. And one day, what me, Jake, is saying on this television will play out. The power resides with the people. They will one day decide who they can trust to take them to the promised land. This idea of you can strangle us and hold us captive and drain our resources, put us in poverty mode so that you can give us handout is fast fading away. And the average Rivers person, we're smart. We're smarter than that. We're hardworking, we are resilient, we are very exposed, and we cannot play to the gallery. It will not happen. So let the politicians have their way, we will have our will, and our will speak louder than their ways. Trust me on that.
Okay, well, certainly a bucket full of different, well, let's say it's a potpourri right now. I don't want to say it's of emotions, but clearly, you know, there's still quite a lot that needs to be resolved.
Yep.
And I think a part of what you did say initially, part of the expectations that you have is that the people will be united. Yes. We're seeing the people coming out en masse, so much so that our correspondent cannot even stand in front of the gate to welcome the governor. They still feel very strongly about the governor. We haven't quite asked, though, what exactly is happening in front of the State House of Assembly, if, you know, we're also seeing that same enthusiasm in front of the State House of Assembly, because that is... they were also suspended as well, and they're expected to resume work today as well. And the president has said it is critical for these two arms to be able to work together. How do you see their relationship evolving after this particular lifting of suspension?
Brilliant question. What I would do if I'm the governor and the speaker, what I would do today, no matter how busy the schedule will be, is to instantly exchange visits. I want to see the speaker come to the governor. I want to see the governor come to the speaker. And both of them needs to make a very strong statement with a very calm, true, communicable, reflective mood to say that, listen, enough is enough. This is my brother. We're working together. And you will see, let them prove us wrong, that they can work together. And by the way, they can work together. These are brothers. These are people who have helped each other in the time past. They know themselves. They know their weaknesses. They can decide to shelve their pride, come down from their high horses, and work together for the interests of the people.
So in some ways, I mean, while the state of emergency has been legally contested, I mean, the president even acknowledged that there are people who had there were voices of dissent, that's what he said, a few voices of dissent against the proclamation, which led to their instituting over 40 cases in courts in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Yenagoa. Do you see that these voices of, would you say that there was some merit to the declaration after all?
That's a tough question. Too little, too late. The only would-be merit was what looks like a bit of a stabilization of the chaos that was brewing to erupt, okay? But in the first place, like, I'm fighting hard not to go there. It was unnecessary. It shouldn't have happened in the first place, you know? And now, what happened is that the president knew that his hands were tied, democratically speaking, and constitutionally speaking. And so what is done now is to just say, okay, that's enough. I think I've done what a statesman should do by bringing the elected governor and all the people fighting him, you know, to the table. We've resolved the issues, you know. In fairness to him, that's what a father of a nation should do, you know. And so my concern, if he shouldn't go to sleep, he should monitor development from time to time and be bold to call anyone misbehaving to other. If he doesn't do that, we will see an eruption. He has to be honest, frontal, and bold to say to, because we will know where the cracks are coming.
Do you think?
I think I want to say something real quick, in 30 seconds. You see, when you see a crack on a wall, and every time you see the crack, you get a menacing person, they'll go and patch it. And tomorrow the crack shows up again, you go and patch it. The day after, it shows up again. The problem is not with the crack. The problem is the foundation. You have to fix the foundation. You don't need an IQ of a mushroom as an architect to know that the problem is foundational. We have a foundational issues, and I hope that they have solved it, and I hope he will put a watch eyes on that to show that, to ensure that truly this foundation have been repaired so that the crack will not show up.
They're also already asking whether the tenure of the governor will still end on May 29, 2027. Are you one of those who think that it will end there, or do you think that an extra 6 months will be added?
Legally, he can fight it out in court. But I can tell you, Fubara is not that kind of person. I don't think he will want to do that. I don't think so. I don't speak for him. But there are some legal issues, and some legal experts can look at it and make something out of it. But in the interest of peace, if I'm in his shoes, there are certain things you just have to let go. You don't have to fight every battle. There are certain battles you just let go for peace to reign. The Bible is so clear. Blessed are the peacemakers. You will always enjoy the peace of the Lord that comes as a result of you being a champion of peace.
I don't know what the Bible says about those who end programs, but I have to say
that whatever has a beginning has an end.
That's a fine place to leave it. Mr. Pele, we certainly will be keeping an eye on development in River State as the day unfolds. We have to thank you very much. We hope that we will have time to also ask you again questions around JAM, but I guess we'll come some other time.
Don't spoil my morning, because what we came out with was something that this nation, I think, Mr. President, you should do a second emergency call, and it should be at the education sector. This is a messy situation. I'm not a pessimist, but I'm optimistic that we can correct it. Otherwise, our certificates will become mere toilet papers.
We have to thank you for your thoughts with us this morning. Mr. Jacob Pele is the President, TAF Africa. As we did say, we will be keeping an eye on what is happening, developments in River State as they unfold today, especially as the governor is expected to resume his office, as well as the Speaker and other members of the State House of Assembly. But we have to thank you. Oh dear, I think we have just one. There's one feedback here. Pastor Law Alpha Cross says, Governor Fubara may have been reinstated by the president, but no doubt his political influence and clout have been considerably cut aside. Hope the shenanigans won't continue again, which may lead to his eventual impeachment. So it does appear that there are still people who are watching with every cautiousness, as they ought to, in this particular situation. But we have to thank you, our viewers, for watching. I'm Maokwe Oguyusuf.
And all eyes are still on River State as events unfold today. Stick with us on Channels Television. I'm Ijaw. Business Morning is on the hour.